Indian Space Research Organization has successfully launched the Space Docking Experiment mission, making it the fourth country after US, Russia and China to launch a space docking mission. With the mission, ISRO aims to exhibit technologies needed for spacecraft rendezvous, docking and undocking using two small satellites weighing 220 kgs each. The PSLV C-60 rockets carrying the two satellites as the Chaser 1 and 2 target, along with 24 payloads lifted from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. The demonstration of this technology is essential for futuristic missions like sending Indian astronauts to Moon, sample return from Moon and building Indian Space Station. The IDF has claimed that they have intercepted a ballistic missile fired from Yemen that targeted central Israel. The military said the missile was shot down by air defense systems before it crossed into Israeli territory. At least 11 missiles and 9 drones were fired towards Israel by Houthi rebels backed by Iran last month. Israeli ambassador to the United Nations has issued a final warning to the Houthi rebels, saying that they will meet the same fate as Hamas, Hezbollah and Syria's Bashar al-Assad if the missile attacks do not stop. Azerbaijan says Russia has promised it to punish those responsible for the crash of Azerbaijani Airlines flight, which killed 38 of the 67 people on board. Azerbaijan has accused Russia of shooting down the Embraer 190 aircraft on December 25th, which eventually crashed in Kazakhstan. Azerbaijan President Aliyev demanded Moscow to accept the responsibility for the firing on the plane, which was scheduled for landing at Grozny Airport in South Russia. Russia has not officially confirmed the same, but Russian President Putin has accepted that anti-air defense systems were active at that time. A court in South Korea has issued an arrest warrant for impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol over his short-lived bid to impose martial law in the country. The impeached president is under investigation for his actions by prosecutors as well as a joint team comprising police, defense ministry, and anti-corruption officials. Yoon has dodged several requests by the joint investigation team and public prosecutors to appear for questioning. He has also blocked searches of his offices. And according to reports, Yoon authorized the military to fire weapons if needed to enter parliament during his failed martial law bid. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense says it has detected 5 Chinese aircraft and 6 Chinese Navy vessels near its border. According to the Ministry of Defense, 3 out of the 5 aircraft crossed the median line and entered Taiwan's northern and southwestern air defense identification zone. Meanwhile, the ministry on Monday reported detection of 23 Chinese military aircraft and 6 naval vessels near the island, with 16 aircraft crossing the median line and entering Taiwan's airspace. Five years after the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, the World Health Organization has urged China to share the data on the origins of the virus. In a statement, the WHO said that without transparency, sharing, and cooperation among countries, the world cannot adequately prevent and prepare for the future epidemics and pandemics. China is yet to respond to the statement amid suspicions that coronavirus escaped from a laboratory in Wuhan. Beijing has been strongly denying the lab leak theory. Belgium has become the first European country to ban e-cigarettes. The ban is a part of a national anti-tobacco plan that targets health risks and environment damage caused by plastic and lithium batteries. These e-cigarettes are popular among youth and are generally known for containing high nicotine levels. This move follows an approval from the European Commission amid other EU countries, including France, considering similar measures. India banned the use of e-cigarettes in 2019, while Australia has restricted vape sales to pharmacies, and the UK is planning to ban single-use vapes by 2025. In India, the opposition leaders have slammed Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar for police lathicharge on the protesting students. The protesting students were demanding cancellation of Bihar Public Service Commission exam over alleged paper leak when a scuffle broke out between the students and the police. Following the incident, police lodged an FIR against 600 to 700 people for unauthorized gathering and creating law and order situation in the capital, Patna. India's Income Tax Department has dismissed claims of using data from the Digi Yatra app to track tax evaders. Now, there were claims that India's Income Tax Department is using passenger data collected via the Digi Yatra app to identify potential tax evaders. The Digi Yatra app was launched to provide a seamless, paperless check-in at Indian airports. It allows passengers to scan their faces through facial recognition technology for an easy flight boarding process. It was claimed that the Indian Income Tax Department is comparing travel data from the app to identify frequent flyers whose spending might not match their declared income. Digi Yatra CEO Suresh has denied the report, calling it baseless. Spotify users were in for a nasty surprise after they found sexually explicit material on the music streaming platform. While searching for certain artists, many users complained of getting pornographic videos in the search results. Spotify has now removed the videos from the platform. This is not the first time such content has been flagged off by Spotify users. In 2022, sexually explicit audio, as well as other content like graphic nudity and album art, were found on the platform. Elon Musk is all set to roll out direct-to-cell Starlink services in Ukraine. Starlink has signed a deal with Kyivstar, Ukraine's largest telecoms operator, to provide consumers in the country with uninterrupted satellite-powered mobile connectivity. Starlink's direct-to-cell service is expected to come online in the fourth quarter of 2025, with voice and data transmission services coming later. However, do note that this is not the first time Starlink will be used in Ukraine. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, Ukrainian forces relied on Starlink to maintain communications with each other. Gold prices were a little changed in early trade today, but the metal posted its best annual performance in more than a decade. Central bank buying, policy easing, and geopolitical tensions propelled bullion to multiple record highs this year, setting the metal on track for its best performance since 2010, with a more than 26% increase year to date. Oil prices rose in early trade after data showed China's manufacturing activity expanded in December, but for a second consecutive year, oil was on track to end lower due to demand concerns in top consuming countries. Brent declined 3.2% for the year, while U.S. oil is on track for a 0.6 drop. While the weak longer-term demand outlook has weighed on prices, experts suggest they could find short-term support from declining U.S. crude stockpiles, which are expected to have fallen by about 3 million barrels last week. The dollar was firm on the last trading day of the year, poised to clock strong gains in 2024 against most currencies as investors prepared for fewer U.S. rate cuts and the incoming Trump administration policies. The dollar's ascent, buoyed by rising Treasury yields, has pushed the yen towards its lowest levels since July, when the Japanese authorities last intervened. The Federal Reserve shocked markets earlier this month by cutting their interest rate forecast for 2025. The dollar has also been boosted by expectations President-elect Donald Trump's policies of looser regulation, tax cuts, tariff hikes, and tighter immigration will be both pro-growth and inflationary and keep U.S. yields elevated. China's manufacturing activity barely grew in December, though services and construction recovered, suggesting policy stimulus is trickling into some sectors as the economy braces for new trade risks. China's $18 trillion economy has struggled to recover from the pandemic amid weak consumption and investment and a protracted property crisis. However, policymakers hope a recent blitz of fiscal and monetary measures will spark a turnaround in the property market, which has dragged on the broader economy. Improved domestic demand could benefit manufacturers amid a global economic slowdown, reducing the impact of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's proposed new tariffs on Chinese goods. The U.S. Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation has told asset manager BlackRock it has until January 10th to accept an agreement that would allow the agency to step up scrutiny of its investments in FDIC-regulated banking institutions. A report by Reuters suggests that the FDIC had reached a similar deal with Vanguard, strengthening the rules the asset manager must observe as a passive investor in banks. The latest step in a months-long tug-of-war between the banking regulator and two biggest managers of index-based mutual funds and exchange-traded funds, the FDIC is pushing both firms to adopt passivity agreements, which provided the regulator with more tools to monitor compliance on the part of the asset managers.